Reaching 50 is a milestone. It's a phase of life where accumulated wisdom meets the prospect of a future that can still be long, and more importantly, vibrant. But to ensure this vitality, we need to be honest about the burdens we carry, the habits that silently sabotage our health. Today, we'll talk about this directly and science-based, under the theme, Before It's Too Late. 8. Things you must remove from your life at 50. This isn't a list of generic prohibitions, but a strategy of conscious removal to make space for more health, energy, and quality years of life. Each item we discuss has a profound and documented impact on our biology, especially in this crucial decade. If you're ready for a strategic life reset and to redefine what it means to age well, I invite you to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications, because the information we'll share here can literally change the course of your health. We're not talking about miracles, but informed decisions. Science shows that how we live from 50 onwards can have a greater impact on our longevity and well-being than our genetics. Think about it. The power is largely in our hands. And that power begins with the decision to eliminate what harms us. The first step, and perhaps the most impactful, is directly linked to what we put on our plate every day. It's something so common, so integrated into our routine, that we often don't even perceive it as an aggressor. The first thing to urgently remove from your life is ultra-processed foods. And it's crucial to understand that we're not just talking about chips and soda. The scientific definition, based on the NOVA classification, encompasses any industrial food product that contains additives like colorings, flavorings, emulsifiers, and preservatives. Ingredients you wouldn't find in your kitchen. Industrially produced sliced bread, sugary breakfast cereals, frozen ready meals, pre-made sauces, and even some artificially flavored yogurts fall into this category. The core problem is that these products are designed to be hyper-palatable, meaning addictive, and are nutritionally imbalanced. A massive study published in the British Medical Journal, BMJ, which followed over 100,000 adults, found a direct association between higher consumption of ultra-processed foods and an increased risk of cardiovascular disease, coronary heart disease, and cerebrovascular disease. The mechanism behind this is multifactorial. Firstly, the high caloric density and low satiety of these products lead to excessive calorie intake and, consequently, weight gain and abdominal obesity, a primary risk factor for metabolic syndrome. Secondly, additives like certain emulsifiers have been associated in preliminary studies with alterations in gut microbiota, promoting a state of chronic low-grade inflammation, which is at the root of numerous aging diseases, from arthritis to type 2 diabetes. The safe implementation to remove these items is gradual and strategic. Start by reading labels. If the ingredient list is long and full of names you don't recognize, it's likely ultra-processed. The golden rule is peel more and unwrap less. Swap industrial sliced bread for sourdough from your local bakery. Replace breakfast cereal with rolled oats and fruit. Prepare your own sauces. These small changes drastically reduce the inflammatory load on your body. But what we ingest is only half of the metabolic equation. The other half is what we do, or, more dangerously, what we fail to do with our bodies. The second critical removal is prolonged sedentary behavior. And pay attention, this is different from not exercising. You can go to the gym for an hour every day and still be considered sedentary if you spend the other 10 or 12 hours of the day sitting in a chair, whether working, watching TV, or commuting. Modern research focuses on the danger of uninterrupted sitting time. A study published in the Annals of Internal Medicine analyzed data from nearly 8,000 adults and found that total sitting time and the duration of sitting bouts were associated with a higher risk of all-cause mortality, regardless of physical activity level. The scientific mechanism is clear. When we sit for long periods, the electrical activity in our leg muscles ceases blood circulation, decreases, and our body drastically reduces the production of important enzymes such as lipase, which helps break down fats in the blood. This leads to increased triglyceride levels, a drop in HDL cholesterol, the good cholesterol, and decreased insulin sensitivity. For people over 50, this is exacerbated by sarcopenia, the natural age-related loss of muscle mass and strength. Sedentary behavior brutally accelerates this process, resulting in a slower metabolism, a higher risk of falls and fractures, and a general loss of functionality. Implementing changes to remove sedentary behavior doesn't require expensive equipment. The key is to break up sitting periods. Use an alarm to get up and walk for 2 to 5 minutes every 30 or 45 minutes. Take phone calls standing up. Have walking meetings if possible. Take the stairs instead of the elevator. Practicing activities like yoga, tai chi, or Pilates is also excellent for improving strength, balance, and flexibility. And all this physical effort, all this metabolic activation, requires a fundamental counterpoint for long-term reconstruction and health. A process that many of us deeply neglect during the night. The third habit to remove is neglecting sleep quality. Sleeping too little or poorly is not a sign of strength or productivity. After 50, it's a passport to cognitive and metabolic decline. During deep sleep, our brain undergoes a fundamental cleansing process mediated by the glymphatic system, which removes metabolic waste accumulated during the day, including beta-amyloid protein, the accumulation of which is strongly associated with Alzheimer's disease. Research from Harvard Medical School has shown that even a single night of poor sleep can increase beta-amyloid levels in the brain. The mechanism goes beyond brain health. Chronic sleep deprivation deregulates crucial hormones. It increases cortisol levels, the stress hormone, which in turn raises blood pressure and blood sugar. Simultaneously, it increases ghrelin, the hunger hormone, and decreases leptin, the satiety hormone, creating a vicious cycle that leads us to crave high-calorie and sugary foods, worsening metabolic health. Insulin sensitivity also plummets, increasing the risk of type 2 diabetes. The evidence is robust and consistent. The National Sleep Foundation's recommendation for adults is 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep per night. Implementing this change involves creating a sleep hygiene routine. Remove screens, phones, tablets, TVs from the bedroom at least an hour before bed. The blue light emitted by these devices suppresses melatonin production, the hormone that signals the body it's time to sleep. Keep the bedroom dark, quiet, and cool. Avoid caffeine and alcohol close to bedtime. Alcohol may help you fall asleep, but it fragments sleep in the second half of the night, preventing you from reaching the most restorative stages. Getting restorative sleep strengthens us not only physically, but also emotionally, making us more resilient to face daily challenges and maintain the connections that sustain us, which brings us directly to the next point. The fourth removal, and perhaps one of the most underestimated, is social isolation. Living in isolation isn't just about loneliness or sadness. It's a health risk as dangerous as smoking 15 cigarettes a day, according to research from Brigham Young University. After 50, with retirement, children leaving home, and other life changes, the risk of isolation increases significantly. A long-term study published in The Lancet revealed that social isolation is associated with approximately a 30% higher risk of heart attack and stroke. The mechanism behind this is biological and psychological. Socially, isolated individuals tend to have poorer health habits, less physical activity, worse diet, and a higher likelihood of smoking or excessive drinking. Biologically, chronic loneliness activates the same fight-or-flight response as physical stress, leading to elevated cortisol levels and chronic inflammation, which, as we've seen, damages blood vessels and suppresses the immune system. Furthermore, a lack of social stimulation and meaningful conversation is linked to faster cognitive decline. If this information is proving useful, and you know someone who could benefit from it, please share this video. Sometimes, a simple act of connection can make all the difference. To remove isolation, implementation needs to be proactive. Don't wait for social opportunities to fall into your lap. Join a book club, a walking group, volunteer for a cause you believe in. Enroll in a course on a subject that interests you. Reactivate old friendships and invest quality time with family. Technology, when used wisely, can help maintain contact with people who are far away. The important thing is to seek meaningful interactions where you feel seen, heard, and part of something bigger. This human connection nourishes our health in profound ways, just as the conscious choice to remove substances that actively poison us, like the next on our list. The fifth thing to drastically reduce or remove is added sugar. We're not talking about the natural sugar in fruits, which comes with fiber, vitamins, and minerals. We're talking about refined sugar, high fructose corn syrup, and other caloric sweeteners added to drinks, sweets, sauces, and countless processed products. The World Health Organization recommends that free sugar intake should not exceed 10% of daily caloric intake, and ideally should be less than 5%. For an average adult, this means about 25 grams, or 6 teaspoons per day. A single can of soda already exceeds this quota. The central scientific problem with excess sugar, especially industrial fructose, is its impact on the liver. Unlike glucose, which can be used by almost all body cells, most fructose is metabolized in the liver. Excessive consumption overwhelms this organ, which then converts excess fructose into fat. This process is one of the main drivers of non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, NAFLD, an epidemic condition that can progress to cirrhosis and liver cancer. Furthermore, chronic sugar consumption leads to insulin resistance, the precursor to type 2 diabetes. Insulin is the hormone that allows glucose to enter cells to be used as energy. When cells become resistant to it, the pancreas has to produce more and more until it wears out. Excess blood sugar also causes a process called glycation, where sugar molecules bind to proteins, such as skin and artery collagen, making them rigid and dysfunctional, accelerating visible aging and blood vessel stiffening. To remove added sugar, start with drinks. Swap sodas, boxed juices, and sweetened teas for water. Sparkling water with lemon, or unsweetened herbal teas. Read labels on healthy products like granola bars and yogurts, which often hide large amounts of sugar. Reducing this metabolic stressor is a gigantic step, but it needs to be accompanied by managing other types of stress that affect our bodies just as powerfully. The sixth removal is unmanaged chronic stress. We all experience stress, but after 50, how our body responds to it and recovers changes. Chronic stress, the kind that is constant and relentless, whether from financial worries, family problems, or job dissatisfaction, keeps our stress response system, the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal (HPA) axis, perpetually activated. This means a constant flow of cortisol and adrenaline into the bloodstream. Originally designed for short-term responses, like fleeing a predator, this state of constant alertness causes long-term havoc. A study published in the journal Neurology found a link between elevated cortisol levels and reduced brain volume, especially in areas linked to memory, as well as poorer performance on cognitive tests. The mechanism is devastating. Excess cortisol can damage and kill neurons in the hippocampus, the brain's memory center. It also promotes the accumulation of visceral fat, the dangerous fat that lodges around abdominal organs and is a major risk factor for heart disease and diabetes. Furthermore, it suppresses the immune system, making us more susceptible to infections, and increases blood pressure, straining the heart and blood vessels. Removing unmanaged stress doesn't mean eliminating all sources of stress, which is impossible, but rather developing effective tools to modulate our response to it. Practices like mindfulness meditation, deep breathing, yoga, and Tai Chi have been scientifically shown to reduce cortisol levels and the activity of the amygdala, the brain's fear center. Spending time in nature, engaging in hobbies that fully absorb you, and maintaining strong social connections are also powerful stress buffers. Managing what happens within our mind and body is fundamental, but we also need to manage the external information we consume about our own health. The seventh habit to urgently remove is self-medication and blind faith in health misinformation found on the internet. With age, multiple health conditions, comorbidities, and the use of various medications, polypharmacy, are common. In this scenario, self-medication, whether with over-the-counter drugs, miracle supplements, or even prescription medications intended for others, becomes extremely dangerous. The liver and kidneys, which metabolize and excrete drugs, may have their function diminished with age, making the body more sensitive to the effects of medications and more susceptible to adverse drug interactions. A study from the CESS, Journal of the American Geriatric Society, highlights that adverse drug reactions are a significant cause of hospitalization in older adults. The mechanism of danger is twofold. First, there's the risk of interactions. Taking a simple non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drug, NSAID, like ibuprofen for a headache, can dangerously interact with a blood thinner or a blood pressure medication the person is already taking. Second, self-medication can mask the symptoms of a serious condition, delaying proper diagnosis and treatment. That persistent heartburn you treat with antacids might actually be a sign of a heart problem. Safe implementation is clear. Remove Dr. Google as your primary source for diagnosis and treatment. Build a trusting relationship with a doctor and a pharmacist. Keep an up-to-date list of all medications, vitamins, and supplements you take, and bring it to all appointments. Never start a new supplement without discussing it with your doctor first, as many natural products can have potent interactions with prescribed medications. Questioning the source of information is vital. Reliable health information comes from published scientific studies, respected medical organizations, and qualified healthcare professionals, not from uncredentialed influencers or WhatsApp chains. Taking informed control of our health is the opposite of a mindset that unfortunately sabotages many efforts for change at this stage of life. Finally, the eighth and perhaps most important thing to remove is the mindset that it is too late to change. This limiting belief is the most potent psychological barrier preventing people from adopting the healthy habits we've discussed. It's based on the false premise that the damage caused by years of bad habits is irreversible, and that the body, after 50, has lost its ability to regenerate and adapt. Modern science proves this is categorically false. The concept of neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to reorganize itself by forming new neural connections, remains active throughout life. Studies show that learning a new skill, engaging in aerobic exercise, and meditating can actually increase the volume of certain brain areas in older adults. Similarly, our physical body possesses remarkable resilience. Research published in the New England Journal of Medicine has demonstrated that even nonagenarians who started a strength training program achieved significant gains in muscle mass and mobility. The liver has an incredible capacity to regenerate once the insult, like excess sugar or alcohol, is removed. Lungs begin to heal hours after quitting smoking. Insulin sensitivity can improve in a matter of days with changes in diet and exercise. The implementation here is a shift in perspective. Instead of focusing on the years lost, focus on the decade you are gaining. Every healthy choice you make today is a deposit into your future health account. Start small. Remove one thing at a time. Celebrate small victories. Let us know in the comments which of these 8 things you will start removing today. Your journey inspires our entire community. Remember, the theme before it's too late is not an ultimatum, but an invitation to action. It's a reminder that the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago, but the second best time is now. And as always, it's crucial to remember that this video is for informational purposes. Before making any significant changes to your diet, exercise routine, or medication, always consult your trusted doctor. Take care.